Good morning and welcome to the Chester County Marketing On Air Show, a bi-weekly hangout on air in which we share our marketing tips and tricks in an episode that's about 10 to 30 minutes in length. Typically, I'm joined by my colleague Jeff Tincher, but today I am hosting. My name is Carla Wilson, owner of Wilson Media Services. We wish Jeff well. He is on vacation, on a well-deserved vacation today. So as our episode today, we are very thrilled to have one of our Chester County Marketing Group members, Liam Dempsey, with us. He is owner of LBDesign. And let me just give you a quick bio about him. As the owner and director of LBDesign, an international communications design consultancy, Liam Dempsey helps businesses and nonprofits get ahead of the competition. Based in the U.S. and the U.K., Liam and his team work with clients across the U.S., the U.K., and Central Africa. So I, of course, did a little bit of interviewing of Liam yesterday, so I knew what kind of highlights we wanted to showcase on today's show, and I am certain that you all will be thrilled with the information that he is about to share. I want to remind you that if you are watching this video player on our website, you may want to click on the little yellow graphic at the bottom of the video player. That will navigate you to our Google event page where you can enter any kind of questions or comments you might have, and I can pass those along to Liam during the show. We would love to have you interacting. I'm sure that Liam would love to answer your questions. We want to highlight some points today. You know, how many contacts does Liam have on his distribution list? How does he go about gathering the content for his newsletter? How often is he sending his newsletter? And we all want to know how he gets those 40 to 50% open rates. So, finally, welcome, Liam Dempsey. How are you today?
Carla, I'm fantastic. Thanks so much for having me on. Real pleasure to be here.
We're really thrilled that you reached out. You know, hint, hint, everyone, we are looking for special speakers on our show, and Liam said, hey, I conducted a case study of email marketing over the last year, and I'd love to share my findings with the group. And, you know, wow, I love data and I love studies like this, so I knew this would be a great show. So again, thanks for reaching out.
My pleasure. Thank you for feeding my ego and allowing me to join you today.
Well, we're glad to have you. We're glad to have you. So let's get started. So where did this idea come about to start this case study?
It was about a year ago, and I was looking forward to marketing plans for 2014 and starting to think about what could I do that would be better, how could I be smarter, how could I be more efficient, how could I expand my efforts without overtaxing myself. Small business, I'm the owner, I've got an employee, and so there's only so much time in the day to self-promote. And, you know, as a marketing consultant, as a design consultant, get asked a lot by clients about e-newsletters. What's the value? Should we think about that? And perhaps somewhat self-servingly, I had always kind of say, hey, everyone loves them for about the first 3 issues, and then they're just a lot of work. But clearly, a lot of businesses are getting a lot of value out of email marketing, and specifically email newsletters. And there had to be a way for a business of my size, you know, probably not unlike the size of your business or the practice that Jeff runs, to put together something that would be of interest to readers, would deliver value for readers, but at the same time would deliver value for me and my business, and, you know, perhaps in the interest of sustainability would be fun, exciting, or at least not overtaxing. So I was kicking ideas around and trying to figure it out and thinking about it, and I kind of came up with what I thought would be a worthwhile formula. And if you indulge me, I'll chat you through that formula briefly.
Absolutely, we love formulas here, so go for it.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I'm no part scientific, so you know, it's definitely not a mathematical formula. More a rough recipe. The idea was, again, to make it valuable to clients. And one of the things that I've been lucky enough to be able to do with LBDesign is work with some really fantastic people, whether they're business owners or leaders of nonprofit organizations. And doing really amazing things in really interesting and unique ways. And I've certainly learned a lot from my clients over the years and my professional contacts over the years. And so it struck me as, here's a way, through a newsletter, what if I tried to make the newsletter a way for my friends, my contacts, not my friends in a Facebook kind of way, but my professional friends, my contacts, my clients, my suppliers, the people who sell me services, what if I could try to connect them through a newsletter? And as I was thinking about that, it really dawned on me that the perhaps one of the most difficult challenges in marketing and self-promotion is writing about yourself. And I said, well, wait a minute. If I focus on everyone else, I don't have to write about myself.
There you go.
Therefore, it's going to be much easier, and I don't have to come across like, hey, look at all these great things I did, or we did, or our company did. It's look at these other amazing things that these other people are doing. And so the content became much easier to generate because I could reach out to clients and say, hey, I'm going to do a newsletter. I'd like to feature you this month. Would you like some free self-promotion? I'll even write it for you, and you just review it or edit it. And I'm like, yeah, who's going to say no, right? So that was kind of the idea, and that's the way that we structured the website. I'm sorry, not the website. The e-newsletter is a couple of highlights about two of our clients, some of the work they're doing. We tie it in some way to work we've done for them, but it doesn't always have to be a recent project. It could be something a few years ago, and really letting our clients know how other people that we're lucky enough to work with are doing things. And then we have a section about, we call it introducing our friends. Mm-hmm. And this, I think, has been particularly a big hit in that we write about not only our clients, but also our vendors, the people that sell things to us, people we partner with, and even people in some sense that we compete with. We like their business, they're doing great work, we provide similar or related services, but they're doing fantastic things, so we want to let the world know about that. Every article is about 50, 75 words, nice and short, nice and easy to put together, a couple of paragraphs. And then the last section that we have are some articles finely curated, to use an overly worn out phrase in recent years. Some articles that we find interesting, something that we've read in the last 6 to 8 weeks, and sometimes it's marketing focused, a lot of times it's not. Sometimes it's just interesting, sometimes it's a little geeky, sometimes it's self-help or organizational. It's just things that we find interesting and want to share. I suppose in a kind of a throwback sense, it'd be the kind of article, hello, kitty.
Welcome, Asia, to the show.
I communicate with animals. The kind of thing where if we were reading a paper magazine, I might cut it out and drop it in the mail to you and say, hey, Carla, I was thinking about this, and when I read this, I thought about you. I thought you might want to read it. So those are the kind of articles that we put into it.
Awesome. Okay, there's my cat. Sorry, I should have. One best practice of Hangouts on Air that I forgot was to shut the office door. So my cat will be hanging. So here's my co-host Asia this morning. Pardon me.
Would it be fair to say that I'm communicating with all of Asia?
There you go.
Excellent. I do have.
There you go.
Now.
You're going. It's global. Global communication. Global communication, Liam. Oh gosh. Okay. So how long would you say that it takes for you to gather the content to create your monthly newsletter?
Top to bottom, it's about 2 to 4 hours.
Okay.
Depending on, and that's everything from thinking about who we're going to write about this month to reaching out to them, asking for approval, maybe drafting the copy, and then getting that copy. We use MailChimp, so getting it into MailChimp, prepping the images, doing the test email to make sure that we haven't spelled our name wrong or our client's name wrong. Yeah, about 2 to 4 hours.
Okay. And so you answered our next question, which was which email marketing vendor are you using? And you're telling us it's MailChimp, which I love and suggest for clients as well. So how do you tell us a little bit more about the distribution list and how that you built it?
So I was very lucky to have some friends who are marketing professionals help on that, and I sent around some emails, and I probably never emailed to say thank you, so I'm going to use this opportunity now to do so. I talked to to Corrine Tassona, who we all know on this podcast. I talked to Skip Shuda of Philly Marketing Labs. I talked to Joe McGonigal of SCC Partners. I talked to Tom Cassell of Simplified Solutions, and maybe a few others, and if I've forgotten them, I apologize again. And I was asking about the collection of names for distribution lists, and I got some great advice and guidance on that. But what I didn't want to do was just take everybody from my business contact list and whack it into the distribution list. Aside from irritating people or violating rules and ethics and laws, it kind of got back to that point I was talking about, creating something of value for my clients, for the people who I wanted to send this newsletter to. And so I don't even know how many people are in my contact list, but I don't know. But I started with 109. So I went through and just really said, kind of name by name, this person I think would like it, this person wouldn't, that person wouldn't, yes, this person would, and went through that. And it was really about people that I thought would find value, would want to get to know my other clients, wanted to get to know my suppliers, wanted to get to know my professional contacts. So that was 109 that I imported. And and this was January of this year when I started. So the distribution list is now up to 100 or 131. And I will add clients whose projects we have completed and they're happy and they send notes like, that was awesome, you were great, thanks for not ruining it, that was wonderful. But then I also, have had some people, by and large, out in the wild, as it were, signing up as well. So my kind of rough plan is to get 3 to 5 per month, and that's very much organic. Mm-hmm. And if I don't get it, I don't sweat it. It's not about growing the distribution list for the sake of that. It's really about adding people of value that would be of interest, that would be interested in reading the newsletter.
I think that is such an important point. When you and I were chatting about this yesterday, I can't tell you how many online marketers, or I would say it's mostly online coaches and online marketers, that are saying, oh my gosh, I've got this great list of 10,000 people. Well, that's all fine and good, but are those 10,000 people getting the value out of your newsletter? Yep. What open rates are you getting with a distribution list of 10,000 people, truly? So that's why when you were saying the numbers of your distribution list and how you decided which folks went on it, I really like your approach, because, well, the number one, it's going to improve your open rates because you've got a very clean list. And I really like that.
Yeah, so open rates are a great metric because they're simple and they're easy, and frankly MailChimp provides it, so I don't have to try to extrapolate it all that much. And yeah, I was thrilled in the first few months to see the open rates that I was getting, and it's been consistently. It's always been over 40%, and sometimes as high as I think 51. What did I tell you yesterday, Carly?
51. It was 42 to 51. Something or other.
Mm-hmm. So no, I get that. So even at 130 people, 50% is only, oh geez, this is bad, 165. But tied to that open rate are some real wins. Real deliverables, real returns on investment, and I'll take just a minute if I can, if now is a good time to go through those a little bit.
Rock on, yep.
Okay, cool. So when I first sent the newsletter in January, I was thrilled just that anybody replied and said thanks to get it, and woohoo! It didn't go right to junk. Awesome. But I did get some really nice feedback, some very nice constructive feedback. We really like the tone, we really like the approach. It's so nice to see somebody doing something that isn't just rah, 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 yay, us. So that was quite flattering. But then over the next few months, and to date, we've had all sorts of success. We've had the CEO of one nonprofit reach out through us to one of the CEOs of another nonprofit that we featured in our newsletter, saying effectively, hey, that's a really cool organization that you featured in your newsletter. We're doing something kind of similar. We're in totally different parts of the world, but we want to connect with them and engage with them and maybe exchange back practices or share and learn. So,
nice.
that the newsletter was able to make that happen was great. And the next month we featured a different nonprofit, and one of our for-profit clients emailed me and asked for information about that nonprofit and could they make a donation to them. So
Wow.
right off the bat, that was the value for the client that was featured. Somebody else wanted to give him some money and presumably join their distribution list. So that was really, really exciting to see. We've actually gotten work out of it. We sent one newsletter to a guy that I've known professionally for a number of years, but we hadn't engaged with each other in projects, a coffee here and a coffee there. But the newsletter went out on a Friday morning at 6:30. That's when we sent it out, the last Friday of the month, at 6:30 in the morning Eastern time. And by 10:30, he had called and said, "Hey, I've got a potential project. Can you help on this?" And it was great. It was a good little project. It was nothing to write home about, but it was a foot in the door. It was really nice. He proved a great guy to work with, and since then we've had another 4 or 5 days of work out of it. And perhaps most excitingly, most long-term return is that now I have a relationship with the end client that this gentleman connected me with, and that's all fine and good, and everybody's happy, and we're kind of moving together as a team. So that's really, really exciting. I was lucky enough to recently hire somebody new in the U.S.
Nice.
And a web developer, Lauren Pittenger, just joined LBDesign. So welcome, Lauren. We're excited to have you.
Welcome, Lauren.
And as part of that recruitment process, I got at least one application, one resume through because of the newsletter from somebody I didn't know. So somebody had received the newsletter and passed it along to somebody that they knew was interested in looking for a new opportunity. So helping out my recruitment process. So all of these little things have really created a tremendous amount of value, not just in terms of billable, where I said I spend 2 to 4 hours and I've already gotten 5 or 6 days out of it. So that's already paid for itself. But the other wins just add to it. It's really proven quite valuable to me.
Okay. All right. I wanted to pass along a question actually has come in from the audience. There's my cat again, sorry. And just to remind the audience, if you're watching the show, it occurred to me that Google changed the layout a little bit of how the video player is displayed.
Of course they did.
Yeah, but it's all cool stuff. It's all good stuff. Number one, I wanted to point out that you will see on the right side of your screen a showcase which will highlight Liam's website, which is lbdesign.tv, as well as a link to the sign-up form for his newsletter if you would like to get a copy of it. I'm sure that Liam would love to have 132 or 133 people on his distribution list, so please sign up. Secondly, if you want to ask a question, at the top of the display, there's a little grid like you typically would see in your Google account. If you click that, one of the options is Q&A, and you can open up the panel, pardon me, and ask a question. So, excuse me. So, Liam, this question has come in. Have you worked with clients yet to refine their email practices based on your experience, and have they seen similar success? By the way, really loving how what you're saying boils down to having a good relationship with your clients and other contacts.
Yeah, that last point is exactly it, isn't it? It's email's just another tool to grow the relationship that already exists or to further it. Going back to what I said towards the start of our conversation, Carla, where I relatively regularly get asked by clients and prospective clients about e-newsletters, I have shunned that kind of work for a number of years because I didn't have a solution that I thought was not going to be pulling teeth. Either I would be chasing the client for the content, and that would prove a struggle, or we wouldn't get the right kind of content, we wouldn't have the time and the energy, and not many clients are willing to farm out the entire e-newsletter process. They want to be involved, if for no other reason, for economic reasons, they want to be involved in some way. So to answer the question is I've not rolled it out yet any other clients. I've not had the opportunity to test it with other clients, frankly, because until I got in touch with you and Jeff maybe 6 weeks ago, I haven't really slowed down enough to say, is this working yet? I figured I had to give it a full year before I threw in the towel. And now that I'm getting the results that are so rewarding, that clearly I'm not going to throw in the towel. So yeah, I may start to think about how to roll that out for our clients, but I haven't yet. I wish I had a better answer.
Awesome. And I didn't, my apologies to Corrine. I didn't see who posted that question until I clicked a certain button. So Corrine, thank you for that question. That was awesome. I think, Liam, one other question. I just want to check my notes here. Oh, and we knew that this might come up. So you did mention in one of your previous answers that you send your newsletter the last Friday of the month, 6:30 a.m. And have you kept that a consistent? Has that always been the time that you distribute your newsletter?
It was in January because that's when I finished it. I knew I wanted to do it the last Friday of the month, but I happened to finish it first thing in the morning, so I sent that out. And I've just kept it that because it worked. People seem to open it. We've got a readership in the UK, so that 6:30 a.m. hits them lunchtime, just going into lunchtime on a Friday, and that seemed to work quite well. And at the same time, we'd be getting the business professionals as they're getting up and getting ready for the day and checking their email as they wait for the coffee to percolate. So that seemed a good time. We tend to get another batch of opens mid-afternoon, late afternoon, and then another batch Saturday morning, and then, Sunday and Sunday afternoon as well. So I've just kept it there, and that kind of leads us on nicely to, I guess, talking about, if it's okay with you, doing more testing and metrics and
absolutely
splitting the distribution list and changing delivery times, and I've not done any of that yet. Getting back to what I said earlier about making it manageable and keeping it manageable, I wanted to spend a year just working on it, and then I do a little bit of fine-tuning, playing with looking at the open rates and the speed of an open rate, how quickly people open things, and playing with the headlines a little bit, trying to get it more right the next month. But I think year 2 is going to be looking at splitting distribution lists. Our distribution list is so small anyway that I don't know how many different ways we could split it before we're starting to get too small of data to deliver significant returns on research.
Right. Great. Yeah, because that actually was going to be the next question, was leading into the A/B testing. But I think, again, that you have a really good idea of how you want to handle this. You want to use year 1 to build and to observe what's going on and get a few metrics before you really start, like you said, splitting it and, and
getting the lay of the land before I try to tweak.
Exactly. Great. So I don't have any further questions. A reminder to our audience, if you have questions, please feel free to post them. I will pass them along to Liam. And again, if you're watching this show after the fact, feel free to enter questions as well, because this page remains live on our Google Plus profile page, and we will be notified when you post a question, and I'm sure that Liam would be happy to answer them, even if you were not able to watch the show live. We appreciate it. Liam, how can folks find you online?
Just about any way, but Twitter is at Liam Dempsey, and the company is at LBDesign.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. And here's one last question that I'm going to throw to you out of the blue that we like to ask our guests, and that is, what would you say is your most effective or most favorite resource for your business? Maybe it's something you use every day. Maybe it's something you can't live without.
So I'm going to give you 2 answers.
Awesome.
I think the first answer is got to be the people on my team. The gal who just left on a worldwide adventure, Nairi Ackerley, was fantastic, and my business wouldn't be where it is without her. and I'm lucky to have Lauren Pittenger join us, and she's been with me just a little over a week now, and such a small business that bringing on anybody and somebody leaving at the same time is, that's a tornado in a granted, it's a tornado in a teacup, but it's still a tornado, and she just jumped in and rocked and rolled. So, the people that I'm lucky enough to have on my team are fantastic.
Okay.
They're my number one resource. From a technology standpoint, I think the phone, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. I don't mean all the technology that we can have and all the apps, but the ability to make a direct connection with somebody, have a voice connection, and cut through any miscommunication, any oversights, any missteps, and just say, hey, Carla, let's clear this out, let's talk, let's reconnect, let's make sure we understand each other. It's difficult to do that with email. I suppose we can do it now with a Google Hangout. But there's something about just having just the voice where we focus a lot more on the intonation, and we don't have to worry about reading visual cues. It's just the sound, and I think that's a really valuable tool that we often forget.
It's true. It's true. I can't say that I'm surprised that you offered up a simple and such an important resource to all of us, because I too, as much as we are online and as much as we live in this virtual world and have a million different ways to communicate, telephone is really one of the best ways. You start going back and forth on a text message, and I'll pick up the phone and say, all right, look, I can't send another text. I need to talk with you directly and understand. So yes. I would completely agree with you. So thank you again for being a guest on the show. We really appreciate it. And I would like to remind everyone, especially those folks that are in the Chester County, Pennsylvania area, that Liam will be joining us for our next meeting, which is Wednesday, October 22nd. We are hosting it at Pizzeria Uno in Exton, right at the intersection of Route 100 and 113. We will meet up there about 6 o'clock, enjoy drinks and networking from about 6 to 7, then sit down for dinner, and Liam will present this topic in person at that event. So if you would like to register, please visit our website at chescomarketing.com/events. We would love to see you there in person, and we appreciate you watching our show. So again, Liam, thank you so much for joining us today.
Carla, it's been my pleasure. It's been a real delight to be here, and really looking forward to next week. And there'll be more. So if you listened today, and even if you don't listen today, but you listen in the next few days, definitely come on out next week. There'll be more information, more data. We'll have more time to chat it all through.
Exactly. I wanted to remind everybody that we will follow up this show on the Chesco Marketing blog with some links to the archive of Liam's newsletters as well as his most recent issue. But again, as Liam said, please come out next Wednesday because we would love to network with you. So again, thank you for joining us today for the Chester County Marketing On Air show, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.